We hope that was helpful. Stop, you're tickling me. You're tickling me. Hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm a landscape architect and environmentalist, and today we're going to be talking about the variegated spider plant and how you can grow her in your home. So, you ready to dig in? Let's grow! This happy little houseplant goes by the botanical name Chlorophytum comosum vittatum, and she is a wonderful houseplant for your home. They grow outdoors here in South Florida, and we've done some videos to that effect. And actually, this is a great shade-loving plant out here in South Florida in your garden, but super adaptable to grow here in your home. It's actually native to Africa. But the plant is, other than known for some characteristics that I'm going to go into now, is also known for to be a wonderful houseplant that helps clear your home of VOCs, volatile organic compounds. This is a very good plant to do that. And Mama over here, who just keeps tickling me, she is the parent plant of this baby, who is now giving us another baby. And to speak to that characteristic of this plant, the spider plant in general has these beautiful grass-like leaves that erupt from a center point of the plant. And if they're getting enough light, and we'll go into care instructions in a minute, but if they're getting enough light during the day and enough care, they'll shoot out these runners, and which will have flowers, which we actively can show you right now. Look at her. And we'll zoom in so you can see this. Over here on Mama, or Grandmama now. I gotta call her Grandmama. And the babies will grow off of the after the flower goes and forms and pollinates itself. So you get plants from one spider. You can have many spider plants. We have Grandma here, we have Mama here, and now a baby. And we'll be doing another video on how to propagate spider plants, but we just want to talk to you today about the spider plant in general and how to care for her in your home. So we've had Mama here 2 years, or well, probably, I don't know, 2 years, at least 2 years. And she was doing well for a while, but she wasn't putting out enough babies, and the babies would come out on these runners here, and they wouldn't really take well. So what we did is we put some grow lights on her. She's facing north, and those grow lights, she just started to burst out some new growth. So that tells us a lot about the house plant and about this house plant and what they typically need for their care. And before I go in detail on care instructions, I want to tell you a little bit more about this family. There's actually a family other than just this direct family line. This direct family tree here is that the spider plant has several cousins. There is this version here, which has a white center and green outer edges. There's the zebra, or the reverse they call, which has the reverse of this, which it has a green center and white outer. And there's a Hawaiian, and this is a note to my niece Tori and her fiance Josh, who live in Hawaii, that when you guys come to visit, we need a baby, a Hawaiian spider plant baby brought back to us when you visit us, because the Hawaiian is really cool too, in that it starts out variegated and then the leaves start to mute and go green and almost solid green. And that brings us to another spider plant, the non-variegated version, the Chlorophytum comosum, just without the vittatum, which is this variety. That's super cool, but we're not done. We've done a video, and you may have seen it already, on another spider plant. This is more of a cousin, a distant cousin, which is called the mandarin. Look at her. Isn't this amazing? These share the same genus. They're all in the same genus. And it's a spectacular houseplant. We did a video on this, so please check it out on our channel. This one to show you this distant, not distant cousin, this cousin of the variegated spider plant here. Such a beautiful, beautiful plant. Also, does well outside in the garden here in South Florida in the shade. Oh, but I'm not done. I've got one more. Oh, I'm gonna surprise you. This is the Bonnie, named after my sister. No, just kidding. But this is the variegated spider plant, the curly spider plant. We call her the curly Q, but she goes by the common name, the Bonnie, variegated Bonnie. There also is, I believe, a solid green version, and she's I mean, don't tell our friends here, but she's rapidly becoming one of our favorite houseplants. She's got a new baby over here. Just a beautiful, beautiful plant. Much more compact. She doesn't tend to have as much browning of the tips, which I probably need to rotate into the care instructions, because I don't want to jump around here. I want to talk about the plant characteristics, and then I wanted to show you a little bit more, talk a little bit more about the plants and what you can do in your home with them. For the grandma over here, I'm going to break away right now so you can see her up close, and then we'll come back and we'll jump into plant care. Okay, here's Mama and her new babies. Look at these. Look at these pretty little flowers. She just shot out this new baby. We feel that the grow lights definitely are helping her. A lot of new growth. Still are dealing with, the burnt tips that you'll get with your spider plant. Sometimes we put distilled water, but sometimes we just do it with regular tap water that sat out for 24 hours, and it'll burn the tips. You can see that on a few of those leaves. What I just pointed at, I'm coming back to, is the grow light definitely helped Mama. You can see her, she's using a lot of our background videos, and when we added the grow light, she's getting tons of light from the north here, but we added the grow lights and she burst into new growth. All these new babies. Look at these cutie pies. Some down there, and this one right here just popped up. Caring for your spider plant couldn't be easier. They are very low maintenance houseplants if you do the right things. So we have ours actually growing in two different mediums. This one here in LECA, which is a light clay aggregate, which we wanted to give it a go because the spider plant likes to actually be, dry out a little bit between waterings. But this one went completely bonkers and did extremely well growing in LECA. For soil-grown spider plants, you want a well-drained, loamy mix. We've talked about this before on our channel. We find that mostly across the board, the 80-20 mix of a we recommend Miracle Grow indoor potting mix with about 80% of that mixed with 20% perlite. But you can, and there's been some people talking about perlite being a problem for spider plants. We haven't seen that. You could throttle back the amount of perlite because sometimes they say that the perlite could cause some of the tips to brown. And now on tips browning, that's typically caused by fluoride. I want to dig into that some more because the Bonnie, we've been watering more with just day-old water without distilled water, and she doesn't tend to have a lot of burnt tips. So I don't know if it's something that's innately a characteristic of our Bonnie that's different than the variegated, because the variegated ones on watering, those tips definitely get brown. I trimmed some of these already, but you can see brown tips here, and you'll see that on when I zoomed in on the grandmama earlier. You can see those brown tips, and that's typically from too much fluoride. The workaround with that is to add distilled water to your spider plants. So I mean, that's a little more extra step, but you really don't need to do anything more than set them in an area where they're going to get high light. If you have them in soil and or in LECA, put them in an area where they're going to get north of 500 foot candles. And over here with Grandma, she was facing north, and we thought she was getting a lot of that light, but we added these grow lights to her just to test out and see how she was doing, and then boom, she shot out a bunch more growth, like I mentioned earlier. So I think she probably wants north of 800. No direct sunlight. These are shade loving plants outside here in South Florida, but they can handle a lot of high light, and the more light you give them, the more babies you're going to get. The other thing that I'm not sure, because a lot of folks are saying don't add so much fertilizer to your spider plants to encourage them to shoot out more pups, more babies, or spiderettes, some people call them. I think you should just fertilize them, and I say through the summer. And like I said, in the written care instructions that we'll go to in a minute, you'll see this all out there for you to take note. This spider here is growing in a liquid 20-20-20. It's what we give grandmother over here, and they're doing fine, and they're shooting out pups. So I'm not sure what the reason is on that. The spider plants do tend to do better when they're more root bound, which is weird because it's something I usually advise against outside. When you buy plants and the roots are all pot bound at a nursery, it's a problem for garden plants. But she's just chock-a-block full of roots, and she's growing them actually in the LECA medium. The water liquid fertilizer mix. And spiders typically want to dry out between watering. So there's a whole host of things that are thrown curveballs at me. So I'm trying to guide you in the best way I can on what our experience has been. Again, recapping: light, you want bright, you want highlight, and aka bright light. North of 500, 700, 800, if you can get there, she's going to do well, and she's most likely going to shoot out pups. It takes a while. This little one here, this isn't even a year of, I think this is maybe a year. I don't even know if it's been a year. COVID was crazy, y'all, right? I think this is about a year old, and she's already shot out a baby. She was a big pup, but she took off in LECA, and we've been adding fertilizer, and she's shooting out a baby. So that's, go figure, right? So what we recommend is highlight, soil and soil grown, 80% Miracle Grow indoor potting mix with 20% perlite. You could probably shy away from the perlite because there's been some studies and some folks who have had growers who have had that experience that the perlite may cause some of that browning of the tips. We have our mix here is like an 80-20 in the body, and she didn't have any problems. Mama has an 80-20, but she does have some brown tips on her. She has actually quite a few. So I would say maybe a 90-10. Let's just say that 90-10. On fertilizer, fertilize during the summer from April through September, and you want to do a 20-20-20 liquid in your water here for your soilless mixture, and then there you can do it. And then the grandma over here, you could water her every other watering with fertilizer in the water, a 20-20-20. And on watering schedule, you want to water her the soil ones grown in soil every 7 to 9 days, and you can test with your finger using the two knuckle method, where you stick your finger down and make sure that top 2 inches are dry before you add more water. Because if you overwater your spider plant, these leaves are going to get spongy and they're going to get droopy. And this kind of drooping is normal to happen, but if they start to look really lethargic and the color starts to lose its sheen, you may be overwatering, causing some root rot. So you want to be able to allow that plant to dry out. Now, one more thing, back to when you allow your spiders to get pot bound, if you want to get a bunch of babies, but also know that you can build up salts and stuff in there with the fertilizer, and you want to probably flush your soil ones, I would say every 2 months. Put it in the sink or the bathtub, and then just flush water all the way through it to try to move that stuff out, because those roots can get really tight, and you want to move out some of that stuff so that you don't build up salts. And here's some salts from the fertilizer on our LECA. You can refer to our other videos. We have plenty of things on how you can take care of a plant grown in LECA. We'll leave those instructions for you as well. So why don't we move over to the written care instructions, and then we'll do a summary at the end. Fake. Sorry, I forgot to mention that the spider plant will live in your home AC. Humidity up between 40%. That's what your home typically will provide for you with AC. So she's not going to need high humidity. As I mentioned in other videos, home ACs typically it's a dehumidifier in effect. So you're going to have about 40% in your home, and spider plants do fine in that. They do like to grow in temperatures between 68 and 78. It can go up to 80, and there'll be no problem with that. And one last thing that I forgot to mention is pests. Spider plants, ours haven't really had any, so we're very fortunate with that. We've talked about our Hoyas and some of our other plants that have gotten spider mites and mealybugs. And these folks don't tend to have it, which makes them more of a low maintenance house plant. So again, without further ado, we're going to rotate over into the written care instructions, and then we'll for reals come back and do the summary at the end. All right. Well, we hope that was helpful. Stop, you're tickling me. You're tickling me. We hope this was helpful to you, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and I'll make sure I get back to you. Until next time, bye.
If you found value in this video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We post weekly. Thanks.